Welcome aboard USS Cod in the new year, 2025. We are cold iron, which means it's a little chilly down here. So any camera shake you see will probably be Evan losing total control of his extremities. Anyway, we come to you on this rather chilly day, battling sinkholes, more on that later, to bring you just another example of just how weird war is. And specifically, it involves Babe Ruth. Now, you don't have to be a baseball nut to know the Bambino, Babe Ruth, arguably perhaps the greatest baseball player of all time, and certainly an international star in the 30s and 40s. In fact, today, just as everyone around the world knows LeBron James, Babe Ruth was an international figure. And Japan, being a very baseball-oriented culture, they certainly knew Babe Ruth as well as the Americans. And what has that got to do with COD in World War II? Well, it's one of those amazing stories from our 4th patrol, and I'll just tell you the short story because, frankly, it's cold, and I wish I had some hot coffee. Evan, did you not have the coffee ready? A nice big thermos of hot coffee?
No, not for you.
Okay.
We drank it all.
Well, it's probably for the best because at my age, hot coffee, cold day, we'd be breaking for bathroom trips. All right, so I'll just move this empty coffee cup aside. So the 4th Patrol, we have a new captain, Captain James Caddy Atkins in command. He's just relieved Mr. Dempsey, Captain Dempsey, who certainly was a man of great respect and well known for sinking the first Japanese destroyer with S-37, an old S-boat. Well, James Caddy Atkins was a Naval Academy graduate, the same class as Dudley Walker Mush Morton. In fact, they were friends. When Captain Morton, Mush Morton, married his wife in Tsingtao, China, his best man was our James Caddy Atkins. We have photos. Evan, maybe we could insert those. Pictures of their wedding at the church in Tsingtao, and there's James Caddy Atkins. Anyway, Caddy Atkins, his name Caddy comes from the Academy days, and in fact, he was given command of one wolf pack, and it was Caddy's Caddies. You know, there's a cool name. Anyway, Lieutenant Commander Atkins had an interesting career. At some point, I believe just before the war, he was disqualified in submarines. And I would like to know what that was all about. We don't know. But he wasn't aboard submarines. He was, in fact, when the war broke out, he was a navigator, I believe, on the New Mexico. But he was a battleship navigator. Anyway, by 1944, they gave him a second shot at command. So he was given, actually he wasn't in command of a submarine prior to this. His first command was COD. So he takes COD out of Fremantle and load of 24 torpedoes, and they are given a patrol area at the entrance to Manila. Because at this time, this is June of 44, July of 44, the U.S. Submarine Command, Southwest Pacific, is pretty much trying their best to destroy any Japanese reinforcements for our invasion of Leyte Gulf and Lingayen, you know, the whole Philippine campaign. So it's very important that we prevent reinforcements of the Japanese garrison in the Philippines. Well, Commander Atkins, Lieutenant Commander Atkins, goes out with the COD crew and fires 24 torpedoes for one hit, no sinkings. In the patrol report, the captain said, "I believe I was the victim of faulty torpedoes." The endorsements from his commanders ashore, after reviewing the attacks, said that, well, certainly bad torpedoes played a role in several of the attacks, but they believed that some of the misses were due to his use of large gyro angles. So that's interesting, and that's not the story we're here to tell. But he comes back because he was, he expended those torpedoes rather quickly. So we still have quite a bit of fuel and food, and we just ran out of torpedoes for not much to show. So he's ordered back to Darwin on the north coast of Australia for more fuel and more torpedoes. And Commodore of Subgroup 10, Captain Griggs, comes aboard. Well, how best to put this? Just to observe. And of course, I don't think it's lost on anybody, especially our Captain Adkins, that he's got somebody looking over his shoulder who's going to pretty much be evaluating on whether or not it was a wise move to give him, command of a submarine. So they load up with a load of new 24 torpedoes, more fuel, and this time they're headed out to the Celebes Sea. And Commodore Griggs is a very respectful man. He understands that the captain is ultimately in command of the submarine. But Captain Adkins is really under the gun. But showing his aggressiveness, he gets into quite a few scrapes. And for the second load of 24 torpedoes, they scored 10 hits, which is pretty good. If you understand, the average sinking rate for expended torpedoes is 1 fish per 12 torpedoes. So to have 10 hits, that's not 10 sinkings, but 10 hits out of 24, listen, in baseball, Evan, you're the baseball expert. If you've got a 45% batting average,
You're a god.
You're a god. That's right. I know about that. What's the average? Is what, 200 batting average? 200?
Probably about 240, 250 around there.
250, yeah. So it's good that we're talking some baseball analogies because we're going to be bringing Babe Ruth into this. So having a 450 batting average is pretty good. One of those attacks involves an attack on a small convoy, which includes a troop transport, a cargo ship, and an escort. And it's a night attack, and we sink the troop transport, blow it apart in the darkness, and the captain, of course, Captain Adkins, wants to, get some more tonnage to his credit. So he roars past the debris field, if you will, and down the track of the escaping or fleeing ships into the night. Ultimately, he doesn't get any of those ships, but coming back through the area, it becomes apparent that there are quite a few Japanese army survivors in the water in large lifeboats and clinging to flotsam and debris in the water. And given the close proximity of land to the sinking site, it's apparent to everyone that these troops may likely be rescued or get ashore and will be killing Americans in short order. So the proposal comes to Captain Adkins up on the bridge. Can we man the machine guns and take out these survivors? Now, Captain Adkins decides to let the Commodore make that decision. So Captain Griggs is not up on the bridge. He is down in the control room, according to our reports from the crew. He's down in the control room. He's not in the conning tower either. So he's there. He's present. He's available for consultation, but he's not looking over the COD's skipper's shoulder, which I think is a good thing. So they confer with Captain Griggs, and he decides that no, that wouldn't be sporting. Well, a short while later, the proposal is made, can we ram the lifeboats? And again, Caddy Atkins defers to the Commodore, and the Commodore thinks for a moment and says, yeah, you know what? That's a good thing. Let's do that. Well, unfortunately, a big boat like cod, 312 feet long, they aren't exactly maneuverable. They're not speed boats. So it's rather hard to maneuver quickly to nail a 30-foot long lifeboat, wooden thing with guys rowing in it. So try as we might throughout the night, we didn't T-bone anybody like we wanted to, but we did swamp a few of the lifeboats. And in fact, as some of the crew reported, they saw Japanese soldiers being knocked out of the lifeboats and being swept down along the side of the boat, moving at high speed toward the propellers. So they took quite a bit of glee in knowing that perhaps some of the Sons of Nippon were being blended and diced by our two 8-foot bronze propellers. But the thing is, to show their fighting spirit, their bushido, in the darkness, the Japanese soldiers began screaming defiantly, "F Babe Ruth." I'm not going to use the actual word, but you understand what I mean. F Babe Ruth. And this was told to me not by one or two, but by quite a few of the COD crew who were present. And it's just amazing. And I was shocked and kind of it's humorous. And I asked, well, what did you guys do? What did you think about that? And they said, well, we started screaming F Babe Ruth right back at them to show that it really wasn't any kind of it didn't affect us. It was, in fact, they thought it was humorous. And I think it's just telling that here in the middle of this greatest, most horrible war in mankind history, that you have a submarine in the night somewhere in the Celebes Sea, Japanese soldiers drowning and dying, and this American submarine, everybody screaming F Babe Ruth. Poor Babe Ruth, I wonder if he ever heard that story, or what he would think if he had heard that story. But that's just the madness of war, that crazy stuff like that happens. It doesn't show up in the patrol report. And in fact, it's amazing, what we know from letters and diaries and the first-hand accounts of our crew, what doesn't make it into the patrol report. But that's just a little amazing, weird, incredible occurrence from our 4th War Patrol. And a testament to just how popular Babe Ruth was. Hey, Bambino. Anyway, so that's our little story for the week, and I think that's about it. I see Evan's fingers turning blue, and I think there's some hot chocolate in the dive locker. So remember to hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell, and we'll be back with some more interesting comments and topics and content for you real soon. Thanks for joining us.